Oh, man. Starting off my day. Jesus Christ. Hey. Get off Andy Ruiz's back, man. Everybody needs to get off Andy Ruiz's back. Don't just assume that he's trying to price himself out, and don't just assume that that he doesn't know what his worth is. Okay? Just kind of pushing it back. I remember when with Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia had they had put a deal up in front of Danny Garcia. He had just lost to Sean Porter, and they put a deal in front of him to fight Terrence Crawford. It was for $3 million, but it was a $3 million flat fee on a bout that was going to be a pay-per-view bout. You know, they're going to bring in gate money. You're talking about whoever's going to be part of the promotions. They're going to be, you know, what's it called, paying to have the merchandise showed there. The merchandise that is sold during the event, concessions, all that stuff, and then whatever you bring in from pay-per-view. You know, with television rights, all that stuff was going to come in, but all they were going to willing to do was give him $3 million flat. And he said, hell no. And everybody said that, oh, he's pricing that, what's it called, he should take that deal. And, you know what I'm saying, he's not going to get another deal like that and this, that. Not even understanding or knowing what the plan is for that they had for Danny Garcia. I mean, turns out Danny Garcia comes back. He has his fight. He wins his fight. And because of, you know, him having television rights, gates, big merch, all that, since he gets a piece of all of that stuff, he made the amount of money that they offered him for the Terrence Crawford fight. And then on top of that, after that, he was supposed to fight Earl Spence. And a fight that he might still get. He's going to get either Earl Spence or a Manny Pacquiao fight. He's going to get a big-ass fight, which is going to be just as on the same level of fighter as a Terrence Crawford, except he's going to get paid substantially more than the $3 million that they offered him. You know, that's what he had in front of him. You know, so he was right to understand what his worth is and not to take that. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect somebody to just, you know, what's it called, take less than what they believe their worth is. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, $5 million. Yeah, $5 million is a lot of money, but it doesn't mean that's what that man's worth is. Especially when you're dealing with a company that like DAZN, and with the amount of money that they've been putting out, and they've been using what's called Andy Ruiz to promote the hell out of that freaking site for a long ass freaking time. They weren't even talking about Anthony Joshua like that. They were actually hyping up Andy Ruiz. I think hoping Andy Ruiz could win, and if, you know, see if they could set up something with the Andy Ruiz. That's what they were doing. You know what I mean? So he understands the importance of a fight like that for DAZN. He understands that. And then you're trying to have the fight in his hometown. Hey, we're going to give you $5 million to have the fight in your hometown. What? You know, he understands what his worth is. He understands what that type of gate's going to be when he's fighting in his hometown, what those concessions are going to be. And when it comes to the amount of money that's being offered to him, this is the same network that gave Mikey Garcia $7 million with him coming off a loss. Mikey Garcia coming off a loss with Earl Spence, they gave him $7 million. Did everybody forget about that? Huh? Did everybody forget about that? That's what they, coming off a one-sided ass whipping from Earl Spence, he got offered $7 million. Andy Ruiz knocked out Anthony Joshua, stopped Anthony Joshua. Yeah, he lost the second bout, but he stopped Anthony Joshua in the first fight. He stopped him. So why is it that Mikey Garcia is worth $7 million, but Andy Ruiz is only worth $5 million? And he's a heavyweight. He's a heavyweight that's still talked about on a consistent basis. A heavyweight who people are looking forward to his return. It's not like he just got the bricks beat out of him by Anthony Joshua when he got stopped or something. Anthony Joshua was on his toes the whole damn night. The whole damn night. And yeah, Andy Ruiz, and everybody knows Andy Ruiz wasn't in shape. It was clear. It was very clear that the man wasn't in shape. So the man understands what his worth is. You know, he understands what his worth is. If anybody can explain to me, why would Mikey Garcia be worth $7 and he only be worth $5? And you're fighting a Dylian White, and you're putting Dylian White into a space where Dylian White for the first time is fighting somebody in the United States that can actually build his name in the United States. So now you're helping DAZN, and for a card that would be a big card in DAZN that will be very lucrative, especially to the demographic that they're trying to push to right now, heavy. That's why they gave Mikey Garcia the $7 million that they gave him. That's number one. And it's in your hometown, so you know the people are going to come to watch that. You know, and you're putting yourself into a space where you can end up building up a Dylian White at the same time. I say he was smart to not take that $5. You know, he's worth substantially more than that particular $5. You know, he understands what his worth is, and he's staying on his own too when it comes to that. You know, and no, he's not. I don't believe it's a situation where he's trying to cash himself out or anything like that. I just believe that he understands what his worth is. He understands what his worth is, and he wants to be paid accordingly. You know, we don't know what they have planned for him. He could be fighting someone that makes him the mandatory for the WBC championship. He could be fighting someone that puts him into a space where he becomes a mandatory for the IBF. You know what I'm saying? Or the WBO or the WBA. He can go in that particular route. This man could fight 2 low-tier fighters and make that amount of money. He can. He can make that money fighting 2 lower-tier fighters. He can make that bread. They were talking about him possibly fighting Luis Ortiz. He can make $5 million to $7 million. He can make $5 million plus fighting Luis Ortiz. And put himself into a position to make a massive payday versus whether it be whoever holds any of those belts. If he can get himself back into shape, and he can become a very lucrative fighter again. You know, so he personally probably understands what he's worth. You know, and that I agree with him. That $5 million, that's too low. You know, the floor, because of what Mikey Garcia made, is $7 million. That fight, Dylian White versus Dylian White versus Andy Ruiz. Y'all telling me that's not as big a fight as Mikey Garcia versus versus whatever the hell his name was? Whoever the hell he fought. Man, whatever the hell that kid's name is. I can't remember the damn kid's name. You know, cool kid. You know, he fought Manny Pacquiao, did his thing. But you're telling me that this fight's not going to be bigger than that fight where he got paid $7 million? Couldn't even fill up half an arena that Earl Spence filled up fighting Ocampo, sold out. They couldn't fill up half that arena. Mikey Garcia couldn't fill up half that arena. Had issues selling tickets to that particular fight. And that sure as hell didn't see what the viewership was for that fight on DAZN. So he can get paid $7 million for that. But this man can come off 2 Anthony Joshua fights, and you're telling me he's only worth 5? In his head, he's like, get the F out of here. 7 is the floor to what that man should be getting paid for a fight. Especially a fight of that caliber on DAZN. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to go by what DAZN's pay scales are. And what they've been paying people for on DAZN. You know what I mean? That's what we got to go by. That would be literally one of the biggest fights they've ever had. That fight on DAZN is bigger than a Charlo versus Demetrius Andrade on DAZN. That's a bigger fight. That's a fight that he fights in his hometown. That thing sells out like this. Or it doesn't sell out because the ticket prices were high as hell. And the ticket prices would be high for that price. Look at what Chavez Jr. was able to do in his fight against against Jacobs. Look at the numbers. Those people came to see Chavez Jr. And we saw the numbers that they were able to do. So what do you think Andy Ruiz versus freaking Dylian White's going to do in Andy Ruiz's hometown? You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to chill. You got to step back. You actually got to look at everything. You know what I'm saying? Then you can understand why certain people are doing certain things. You know what I mean? And in this particular situation, that lazy F who squandered probably 50 plus million by doing what he did, being lazy, and that food cost him $50 plus million, $50 to $100 million, because he wins that fight again. There's no more rematches. The amount of money that man would have been offered, the amount of money he would have made in the undisputed bout, and had an interim bout in there and got paid a boatload of money because the likes of Usyk ain't beating him. He could have got another 1-2 big freaking huge paydays and then did that. But even despite all that, the fact that he came off those 2 fights and the way especially he performed in the first fight, Mikey Garcia's worth $7 million? Yeah. Andy Ruiz is 100% right to say, F you, pay me. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.